gamer has a secret shame in their life. Mine is never having completed a Legend of Zelda 3D game. I missed Ocarina of Time, I missed Majora's Mask, so forth and so on. Now, that's not to say I haven't played all these games, I just couldn't get into them at the time. The one that I was very, very upset about was not getting into this game right here, which is Wind Waker, and this review is based off of the Wind Waker HD. So, what do I like about this game? Because, I'm going to do a little spoiler for you, I felt terrible playing this game because of how much fun I enjoyed it. I have not been addicted to a game in a very, very long time, and this is an old game. I really couldn't put it down, and it wasn't one of those things where I really just wanted to get through the review and finish up this thing so I could get it out the door and get this posted. It was one of those things where I just thought about playing it, I wanted to keep on playing, I played it for hours upon hours. I'm like, oh wow, I've been playing this game for a long time and I'm still not bored yet. It's amazing. And that there's a lot of stuff to do. It's an open world, of course, and maybe I should go back because there may be some people that don't know what the hell the Wind Waker is. This one is the farthest in the timeline where basically Hyrule has been buried by the sea, and it's kind of like an apocalypse, but much more carefree and high Sairings adventure. I mean, there's pirates, there's bird people, of course they go back to the boyish Link. He's just so emotional and expressive, it's so funny and awesome. And this is of course aided by the cel-shaded visual. As you can see here, like, the GameCube version still looks very, very good. Compared to the Wii U version, of course it's not as pretty, but you can tell that maybe there's maybe a little finer tone of pencil with the GameCube version. And this one looks more actually kind of clay. It's like a very bright kind of clay is what I kind of reminded me of when I was playing this game. But I love that. The game was gorgeous. The music is so good. I loved it so much. It was one of those things where I immediately went online to order the soundtrack because it's so awesome. And, you know, going back to the story, it starts off you trying to find your sister, then you're trying to basically also do that while trying to gather power in order to steep the evil Ganondorf. Yes, Ganondorf, spoiler alert, of course he's here. Needless to say, it's, you know, typical kind of adventure, but with a little twist on it. And I think one of those twists is that it doesn't follow exactly the same style where most Zelda games are. You start off, you do one dungeon, and then you gotta do like 3 about to get like the Master Sword, of course. And then after you get the Master Sword, it's like, how about 7 more? 5, 7 more? That's what about most of them are as far as I can tell. But, you know, for good or not, they do reduce it, and it feels like they really did kind of rush it. Not that anything terrible is with the game, but with some of the, you know, it feels kind of short. It feels like there's definitely room for some dungeons in there, especially with, like, the latter quest that you do is very tedious. And to get more on the negative side of things, there are a lot of bad things. And tedium is the name of the game. Sailing is the worst part of this because it takes a long time for you to be able to warp around the map. Of course you can get that later on and it does help, but it still is a little bit tedious to have to go to sailing on all these islands. You can't chart these islands either. You can pay money to do it, but it's not as universal as having like an actual map that autofills or something like that. And of course the combat does feel good. And the dungeons are awesome, and they're well laid out, and the bosses are really, really good and memorable. But again, I think a lot of that tedium kind of does draw on the thing, because a lot of those quests are kind of hard to figure out on their own. It's kind of one of those series that has always been about using the guide. Not so much the dungeons, but like the extra quests, along with, again, the latter part of the game. It really does say you need a guide, because it's a very bizarre way in how they handle it. But overall, again, I love this game so much. The endless ocean, the characters, the awesome visuals, the music, the combat, again, feels awesome. I love those bosses. No one does a puzzle dungeon like Nintendo. It's so good. Of course, there is some bad parts to it, and being able to elude some of that stuff by having the gamepad with the TV screen. It's like having a DS experience, you know, being able to not have to pause the game every single time you want an item, instead of just having it on the pad like a DS setup again. But, you know, that's kind of done that, and the controls are a little bit better on the Wii U gamepad. and they do help with the sailing a little bit because there's extra items in there for this new version, but probably a better version than the GameCube one. I do kind of like the more classic visuals of the GameCube one. If they could have just kind of stick more to that and up-res them instead of making this weird kind of clay thing. Again, it's still gorgeous, but whatever. Anyway, I am so ashamed that I missed this game for so long, but you should definitely pick it up so you not feel the shame that I do constantly. But now, you know, that's over with because I tried it out. So, please do me a favor, and you as well. Get a GameCube, or get a Wii U, and get this game, or the last game, or whatever. Just play this game. I love the Wind Waker. Love it.